Can you give us an example of how impressionable people are, but kids especially? Because I think we talked to, well, he came up twice today, John Tierney, former science writer of the New York Times, and he talked about curating your inputs and the importance of that. And I love that term very much. And we have to do the same with our kids. We have to protect them. But I think people need to realize how impressionable kids are in the first place. Can you give us an example of that?
Well, children take their cues from adults, especially little ones. And if their parents are telling them that it's not safe to go outside unless they wear a mask, or that grandma cannot see them because they might actually make grandma sick and die, the children are going to start to be afraid of the day-to-day normal, healthy activities that they've been engaging in all their life. And they're going to start to learn that there's what they call a new normal. The problem, though, is that we have allowed our social norms to be dictated by the most fearful among us rather than the most courageous. That is not a position or a stance that you want to expose and train a child to follow, because then you're going to have a generation of children who will become a generation of adults who are all going to be living in a state of chronic fear, all because the adults are modeling that for them. And as I said, 2 years ago in May 2020, down in Orange County, when they were trying to discuss whether and how to open up the schools, I said this in the public forum at the meeting. Why are we here? We're here because we, the adults, are afraid. And we have failed our children. We have let them down as parents and as adults because they are going to model our fear. Shame on us.
Wow. You have a new book. It's like the sequel to your previous book about fear. Can you give us an example of how we can get past this addiction?
Well, my new book, which is going to be called Freedom from Fear, which follows the book on the screen, United States of Fear, is going to be basically a 12-step program on how to get out of this problem. We're in it. What do we do about it? And one of the first things that we have to do, other than acknowledging the fact that we're living in fear addiction, is we have to get away from the drug dealer. And the drug dealer for most Americans is legacy media. It's the media that we turn on our phone, the one that we listen to at the gym, watching on the overhead camera, that we hear displayed at the airports, that we hear on the radio, that we watch in the evening news. These legacy media sources, and that includes almost all of the major news outlets in the United States, particularly those that are on our phones, the ones that use the push notifications, they are telling us to continue to be afraid, to be compliant, and to obey absurd, irrational, and self-destructive rules and policies. And if we can cut that out, if we can stop listening to those feeds, then we have a chance to re-normalize and re-baseline ourselves back to a state of reality, one that we have for hundreds of years understood. Life is not safe, but we still live it. We can't do that if we keep listening to media telling us otherwise.
Hey, thanks for watching that whole clip. I think this is really the root of all the problems we see in our country. Can be traced back to mental health and what's really going on here in spiritual health. The full special, all the wonderful guests we have, is available on the First TV app, and you can download that for free on thefirsttv.com.